Hey all, Bree from the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I have got a gift for you this holiday season. If you love the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I mean love the No Guilt Mom podcast, then tell us about it. Leave us a review, and you can be entered to win a No Guilt Mom gift card. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and then simply go to noguiltmom.com/review to enter our giveaway for a free No Guilt Mom gift card, simply for telling us what you think about the podcast. It is amazing. But don't delay. Get right on this, as we're going to be giving away that No Guilt Mom gift card on December 21st. So get right on over and visit noguiltmom.com/review.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by my co-host, Bree Tucker.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
So we want you to love being a mom again. And in this podcast, we aim to help you take some of your parenting struggles just off their plate, Bree.
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite all-time parenting tools that I think really does help relieve a lot of stress that, and you know what? In a lot of cases, it's self-imposed stress.
Yeah, a lot of moms want to know, how do I get my family to help out more? We feel like we're doing everything on our own. And family meetings are a step in that direction and something that you absolutely need in your family.
Oh, yes. You know what? And I think a big thing, too, is that I don't know how many other moms can relate to this, but I am stellarly known in my house for not asking for help. And
I think a lot of moms do that.
Just taking it all on. And then while I'm taking it all on, I start cursing under my breath, throwing around pots and pans a little bit, sometimes getting a little mad that no one's helping.
Oh my gosh, I get so huffy and I refuse to look anyone in the eyes. And they're like, Mom, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Leave me alone. I'm fine. And then I find that a lot of times when I'm stressed out about things, the example I was giving, if you couldn't tell with me talking about pots and pans, was about dinner. I get really stressed out that after working a long day, coming home and then having to put together dinner, that's going to be something that all the whole family wants to eat because we have some different dietary restrictions and everybody has different opinions. I was taking that all on, but had a family meeting and we figured out a way that Bree didn't have to be the one to stress it all out.
Which is a huge parenting accomplishment.
Yes. It was amazing. It was so I wanted to almost cry with happiness at the end of that family meeting. And while it hasn't been perfect, it has been immensely better than where it was beforehand.
Yes, and we want you to have a parenting win like this as well. So maybe you've tried family meetings before and they've absolutely bombed and they were so painful and you just couldn't see the point of them. I know a lot of parents get that.
Right. Or maybe we're hitting you up and you haven't even heard of one before.
Yeah,
or
maybe you haven't tried them.
Or you've heard of them, but they just seem so complicated. You're like, nope. Not even.
In this episode, we are going to give you a plan to do a family meeting as well as what to avoid. And let's get on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast.
Okay, let's get into these family meetings. We are going to talk about 5 reasons that family meetings might be failing and what to do about them.
Right. So let's just dive into number 1.
Let's jump into number 1. So number 1, the family meeting was way too long.
I have actually fell victim to this as well because I'm a talker.
Yeah,
I'm a talker. In case you haven't noticed, guys, I'm letting you in a little secret. Bree likes to talk.
And she has a podcast now to talk as well.
Which helps some. We'll say that helps some.
Get out the talking.
Right. But what is, Joanne, pray tell, what is too long? What is too long?
I think that too long is any time that you see your kids or family losing attention.
You start to gloss over.
Just kind of gloss over. But really what we're looking at is when we first start family meetings, I think that people should really aim for 15 minutes. like max at first.
Right.
If the kids are young, especially 15 minutes. And then up in the upper end, you say 30 minutes.
Right. After you guys have done it for a little while, it can go as on as to 30 minutes. Or if somebody in the family is a big talker and the rest of the family, I would definitely say you'd have to have older kids to be able to handle 30 minutes. Like you're not going to do a 20 to 30 minute family meeting with kids that are 6 and 7.
No, they're going to glaze over and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, please make this end.
Right. I mean, like, have you ever had a kid that age and you try to get them to even like watch a 60-minute episode of something that's not a cartoon?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Or have you ever tried to give them instructions for something and they're like, I know, Mom.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah,
like you
I know.
lose them after step 2 or 3. So yeah, so you definitely want to aim for them to be shorter, because if you think the shorter, the better. That really is the sweet spot, because you need to catch them at their attention span that they have.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
Definitely. That's a pretty straightforward tip. Make it short. That's how you can make your family meetings more successful. So step 2,
you got to get down to business.
yes, but maybe in your last family meeting, you got down to business too fast.
Really?
Too fast. Because a lot of us, like, we're achievers. We want to get things done. I mean,
True.
Yes.
Very much.
I'm thinking tasks, the checklist.
I know. I'm definitely a person that does not like wasting time. I feel like my time is very, very precious. And it's somehow I'm always looking back at it going, where did all the time go? Why did that take so long?
Yeah, because like, so for instance, in my house, I got very, very upset that I was finding breadcrumbs on the counter every morning. And I was the one having to clean up these breadcrumbs, even though I did not put them there. And so I called a family meeting, and right at the top of my mind was breadcrumbs. That's all I wanted to talk about. These stupid breadcrumbs that were everywhere. But my family wouldn't really get into that one.
Right.
That
it wasn't their issue, right?
It wasn't their issue. It was my issue. And sometimes with family meetings, we make the mistake of coming with like our set like agenda that we don't make any time for the connection that also needs to be happening in family meetings.
Yeah, because I know when someone comes to me and starts barking orders, I'm always really happy to listen.
Yeah.
But did the sarcasm make it through the mic to y'all okay there? Did it make it through? Yeah, so like our point is like exactly what you're saying. Like you need to have that moment to connect. You need to find the positivity first, because if your family meetings are nothing more than being called and you immediately jump into what the problem is.
Yes.
As a member of that family, I would feel like, oh God, another family meeting. I'm just going to get yelled at again.
Yeah. And then you start not looking forward to family meetings and no one wants to have them. Yeah. So how can we fix this?
Well, you can start by making them fun. Like, so the big thing you need to remember with family meetings is that you've got to, like we just said, you have to connect. And how do you connect? You tend to connect with your kids when everyone's having fun, right? When everyone's in a good mood. That's how you connect the best. So it could be as simple as giving compliments to other family members. But some of our favorites that we've heard are like playing games, right?
Yeah, you could play a board game. We have, oh my gosh, our family has a favorite game. We like Apples to Apples Junior.
Ooh,
that's a
fun
great
one.
game. That's a great game to play. We also, there's a Settlers of Catan for kids that we've also been playing.
Okay, so my family, it's we like a lot of games. Sorry is a favorite, but if we were going to go, this cracks me up. My kids' favorite game, no matter what is going on, I can get them to stop if I say, we'll play a game of charades.
Oh.
I don't know why they love charades so much, but they do. And it's crazy. I can get anytime, anything I need if I bribe them with charades, but I do it sparingly. Don't want it to lose its magic.
Yeah.
Don't want it to lose its magic.
You have the charades in your back pocket and you're like, do I need to go to there right now?
Yeah. But we also have something that I really enjoy in our house. I don't pull it out too often because again, it needs to be in that back pocket, but I have these little conversation starter games. One is called Family Meals and another one was for like slumber parties.
Yeah, we have one of those as well.
Yeah. And they're really good. They come up with like some really awesome, just random things to talk about that kind of get us out of our rut of our normal things we ask questions about.
And some of the answers are always surprising. Like I'll ask my son a question and he will give me sometimes a one-word response. And I'm like, hey, can you tell me a little more about that? And what he says always kind of blows me away because I'm like, I didn't know you thought that way.
Right.
Always in a kind of cool thing. Like it's just a getting to know your kids more.
We did do a fun one the other night. What was our random topic? Top 5 foods.
Oh.
Top 5 foods you can't live without. And then it was like, then we, for some reason, went into after that, like top 5 desserts you can't live with. Yeah, food is a big thing I'm noticing. It's a big conversation topic in our family. But still, the point is everybody laughed, everybody connected. And then once you're feeling like you're appreciated and loved, you're a lot more open to problem solving, I think.
You are, which brings us into our next kind of mistake that people make with family meetings. And you only focused on the problems.
Yes. Because again, when someone comes at you and all they have to talk about are the things that are wrong, and let's be honest, as parents, if we're calling a family meeting, 90% of the time, it's something that we need our kids to adjust to some degree. Now, I'm not saying that our kids are 100% at fault, but as a parent, I think a lot of times we see it and we're like, well, if our kids could just do X, Y, and Z. And most of the time we are right. If our kids could just do a little bit more of something.
We are kind of right. But, we do see our roles as teachers, as parents, more than like punishers.
Right.
So when we come to these family meetings, we have all the best intentions. We're like, okay, I'm gonna fix this in you so that you're going to be more successful in life. But when we talk about only the problems or the things we need to fix, it brings that whole negative vibe to the meeting and means that people are going to fight you more and more each and every week to do the family meetings because they're a buzzkill.
We'll be right back after a quick break. My son is playing a game right now on his computer where he's a thief and the cops are after him. So I'm so excited about this new app, Give As We Grow, where instead of being the quote unquote bad guys, kids are practicing giving back.
That is so cool, Joanne. I really wish that there was something like this when my kids were younger that got them excited about giving back to others and helped them build a better understanding of what it really means to volunteer.
Give As We Grow is the first of its kind free educational mobile app for children ages 8 to 11 that teaches kids via fun, service-focused mini-game quests to tap into their unique talents and interests to help others.
And did you know that studies show that there is a biological connection between generosity and happiness, and that volunteering improves people's physical and mental health? I mean, kids who volunteer typically do better in school and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And that is something that I think we all want for our kids.
Ready to spark a new movement in generosity? Find and download Give As We Grow for free in the App Store for Android and iOS. And for resources for the whole family, visit giveaswegrow.org. We're hitting that time of year where my brain gets so overloaded in December that I look for anything to make life easier. And I have to say, Brie, that Green Chef is one of those services.
Yes, Green Chef is there to take away the dreaded, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You can eat clean all holiday long with over 80 weekly meal options each week, featuring things like quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, or my personal favorite, the keto options.
And you don't have to lose track of healthy eating habits during the holidays because every Green Chef customer gets a free session with one of their registered dietitians who can walk you through how to make clean eating work for you, which is very cool.
And I have to say that I have been loving their recipes lately. They put things together I have never thought of. This week, we're trying the lemon basil caper pork with sauteed cauliflower, bell peppers, almonds, and feta cheese, my favorite. Their recipes make it so easy to support my wellness goals without skipping on flavor.
For Green Chef's best deal of the year, get $250 off with code NGM250 at greenchef.com/NGM250. That's greenchef.com/NGM250. And don't forget to use that code NGM250 to get $250 off.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
So let's just take like one moment. Like, what is something that you have focused a family meeting on in your household? Like, you've had many family meetings. I know we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
So what are a couple of topics that you have brought up before at family meetings that you guys were able to work on eventually?
So the breadcrumbs problem. But before I address that problem, we like to play this little game. Sometimes we call it high, low, most interesting. But we also have another variation, which is rose, thorn, and leaf. So the high, low, most interesting, like everybody goes around and they say the high point of their day, like a low part of their day, and like something interesting that happened during their day. And then at the end, we all talk about like who gets the most interesting of the day. So there's a little competition there. But when we don't want to do the competition, we can do rose, thorn, and leaf, where it's rose is like the high point, thorn is the low point, and a leaf is something that you're looking forward to tomorrow.
Oh, that's really great. I like that.
Yeah, so it brings the positivity in and helps kids focus on, more positive things. Another variation, because I noticed that my kids were focusing on the lows a little bit too much, is I had them do, 3 good things that happened to you today.
Okay, because that's the kind of thing that you can change up and follow the flow of the family, right? Like where they're at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a way to add positivity in.
That's awesome. So you guys have talked about cleaning. It kind of sounded like a little bit breadcrumbs.
Yeah, the breadcrumbs
counters.
we've talked about cleaning. And then what else have we talked about? There's one that I'm going to mention in the next point we have.
Oh, okay. So we don't want to get the one ahead of. So I don't want to get ahead of that. But you've also talked about, in my household, when we've done family meetings, it's been about things like studying. It's been about things like chores. And that one definitely was interesting because in our household, chores is something that we visit on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily being talked down to about the problems. So this is where this kind of works well into this point. It's not always about the problems with chores.
Yeah.
We check in regularly about them. So what I'm saying is at least a couple times a year, we check in and go, okay, how does everybody feel about their household responsibilities? Do you feel like they're still fair? Do you feel like something needs to be changed?
Yeah.
So we had a big change in our family in the last year where I feel so childish. My boyfriend Miguel moved in with our family. And so then all of a sudden the chores that we had didn't seem very fair because he didn't have any responsibilities. And it was funny because he was the one that was like, we need to have a family meeting about this because I feel like this is way unfair. I don't have any chores and I see you and the kids doing stuff every week and I need to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's about redistributing things, like even just so that they feel a little bit better. And it was funny because it was just funny how that conversation went. Yeah. It ended with less chores, but a boost in their allowance. My kids were very happy with that family meeting.
So instead of just focusing on the problems, and by focusing also on the solution, you're bringing the positiveness. And it's not something that you said, oh, this is how we're going to solve this problem.
Yeah.
You were like, how can we solve this problem?
Right. And then and another one too that we had recently was talking about where to go on a long weekend. Mm-hmm. What we were going to do for the long weekend.
See, that's something that's not a problem. Like, it's not the problem in the traditional sense. It's more of a fun problem.
Yeah,
it was future plans.
It was still a problem
a
problem. But it was not something that I would typically as a mom be like, oh God, I got to get this fixed.
No, it's one of those problems that people look forward to family meetings to solve.
Yeah. And I have to admit, it was one of our better trips that we've ever taken because we took the time to have everybody have a say and everybody got to have a part in it so that when we decided to do what we decided to do, which included going somewhere for the weekend, everybody got to have a say. And so everybody felt like that trip or that weekend, they were getting to do what they truly wanted to do.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So we have 3 tips for you so far. Now, the 4th tip that your last family meeting may have failed. Only one person talked the entire meeting.
What?
And usually when we're the ones starting family meetings, we're like, okay, it's this, this, and this, because that's really what we see in the world, especially in our work and meetings. Like, we come and who talks?
Right.
The boss.
Right. And you know what? Sometimes a big factor I have is I have a really hard time with the silence. You know that.
Yes.
I cannot sit through silence well. And sometimes as parents, I think we think it's our job to keep things moving.
Yeah.
Because didn't we just tell them that these family meetings can't go long?
Yeah.
So if it's quiet, I'm burning precious time.
Oh, that's true. That is like a little pushback to it.
But not necessarily, right?
No, what I want to really reinforce is that awkward silence is your friend.
It is.
Because people will want to fill that awkward silence so fast. You will want to fill that awkward silence too fast. And that's where you're like, put the duct tape on the mouth and see who talks.
Yes.
Also, we need to give our family members time to address their own issues and frustrations. So family meetings aren't just about us. They're about frustrations the entire family is feeling. So, for example, that one breadcrumbs meeting, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this breadcrumbs and all of the the cleaning things we're going to do. Oh my gosh, we have to Addie, if you hear it, my dog is going crazy in the corner chasing sunlight.
But the sunlight is coming from her tag.
The sunlight's coming from her tag. It's a never-ending source of sunlight. Yeah. She just went back to the corner. I don't know if you could hear that. I hope not. But that breadcrumbs meeting that I was talking about, I came and I was like, I want to talk about breadcrumbs. And at that same meeting, my daughter came back and she's like, I want to talk about having my own phone. And that's when I'm like, okay.
I love that. She's like, hold on, it's not over yet. I have something to bring.
I want to talk about having my own phone. And so we then talked about like having her own phone and what to do, like what she needed to do, what we needed to do, all of our concerns about that. But that is not what I planned that family meeting to start as.
But it was very awesome though, right? Because when you told me that story, I was like, wow, as a parent, I felt so proud for your whole family at what you guys have managed to do, because your daughter felt okay to bring something to you guys that could have been scary and intimidating.
Yeah.
But she knew that the family meeting was a safe place where she could say her piece, she could say her opinion, and you all would listen to her, and you did.
Mm-hmm.
And unbeknownst to her, you guys were actually like, you're actually thinking about how it could possibly work out the way she wanted it to.
Yeah. And
not saying it will, but you guys are definitely looking at the options and listening.
We are. And we always try to show that we're listening. And family meetings don't mean that all kids get what they want.
Right.
But we want to make sure that they're heard and that they know our explicit reasons for saying no or ultimately saying yes.
Right. So I think that's really awesome. So like not just one person talks at the meeting. Everybody should have a shot.
Yes.
And you can kind of do that by going into our next family meeting tip, where you maybe it didn't go along so well because you didn't have a plan. And that's where like having a loose agenda is super helpful.
Yes. And also like we suggest people print out a paper and put it on their refrigerator so that all family members can add to the plan.
Right, because sometimes, I mean, I don't know about the rest of you all, but I have to write notes for myself all the time because that whole pregnancy brain thing, the brain never came back 100% after Brie had her 2 kids.
Ever does.
Like, so I have to leave myself notes and little things once in a while to remember something, because otherwise it'll spark at one moment and then 3 hours later, I will have no recollection that I even came up with that thought. So, and I think it's true for our kids too, right? I mean, everybody has a lot going on in our lives. So having somewhere where you can write down that thought when it comes to you and then be able to come back and revisit it when it's time to actually have that family meeting is huge.
Yeah. And a loose agenda you can put together for family meetings is that you always start with something positive, whether it be a positive, fun game, or maybe it's compliments.
Right. There's so many, like we already gave like a lot of examples of ways that you could have that positive connection at the beginning of your family meeting.
Mm-hmm. And then what do they move into?
We'll be right back after a quick break. This message is sponsored by Greenlight. It is so hard to raise kids who know how to manage money. Brie, right now, my kids are all about earning money for presents. My daughter wants to get presents for all of her friends, and my son is doing a Secret Santa with his friends.
Oh, I hear you. And if you're looking to raise kids that are financially responsible, we have got a lifesaver recommendation for you that you need to check out. It is Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families that gives kids and teens an easy and fun way to gain financial literacy, all while giving parents peace of mind.
You can send instant money transfers, automate allowance, and even keep an eye on kids' spending with real-time notifications. Meanwhile, your kids can begin their journey towards financial autonomy by learning how to save, invest, and spend wisely.
So sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/NGM.
That's greenlight.com/NGM to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/NGM.
Hey, Brie here, and I wanted to share one of my favorite gifts to give during the holiday season, a Storyworth book. It is the most amazing gift ever. Storyworth is an online service that lets you create a special and unique gift of someone's story. I've given Storyworth books to both of my parents, and it has been their favorite gift, hands down. And did I mention it is so easy? Storyworth emailed my parents questions every week that I handpicked from their massive list of questions that they have. All my parents had to do was open their email and answer them. That easy. I asked my dad questions like, did you have any rules that you set for yourself as a parent, which you immediately broke?
And he did. I even asked both of my parents, are you more like your mom or your dad? And they shared a lot of really amazing qualities that I didn't know about my grandparents at the time. Then at the end of the year, Storyworth compiles all of their answers, puts them into this gorgeous book that covers everything. My parents love showing us their books, and I personally love getting a chance to read them. With Storyworth, I am giving those I love a thoughtful and personal gift from the heart that preserves their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/NGM and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/NGM to save $10 on your first purchase. Then they're going to move into what is on the agenda, like what needs to be discussed. Mm-hmm. So it's going to, I hate to use the word problem. I like to use the word challenge instead.
But I like that.
Challenge, problem, it's semantics. It's whatever you really want to call it.
Yeah.
But that's when you move into what is on the agenda that we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. And definitely remember what we talked about for the first tip, that the family meeting can't go on forever.
No.
So you might have 6 things on the agenda, but you're not going to get to 6 things. It's okay.
It is okay to leave them for another time.
Yeah, it's okay. So you go to the first one that's written on there and you work through that one.
Mm-hmm.
But you also, and this is my problem that I have, that I work on a lot, you don't want to beat that dead horse.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Don't keep talking about the problem once you all have found a solution.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Especially when it's not like, okay, so maybe the solution isn't what I would have picked. I had it in my mind what we were going to do, but when I brought it to the family meeting, my kids came up with a solution that was slightly different.
I get that. I've had that experience in family meetings before.
Right? And as a parent, we have to sometimes, and this is the scariest part, is I'll get out. I have to step back and be like, okay, because in my mind, the whole time when my kids have this solution, I'm thinking it's going to crash and burn. It's going to crash and burn.
Yes.
So like an example of one that we had was my kids wanted to be able to do their chores when they wanted to get them done instead of when I wanted them to get them done. Because I wanted them to get done on Saturdays and Sundays because we had more time. We were at home. It was a better time, I felt, for them to get done. But my kids saw Saturdays and Sundays as their sanctuary. They didn't want to be held to the chores had to get done that time. So they're like, Mom, let me go. Let me figure out when I'm going to get it done. As long as I get it done before I have to go to Dad's house, then we're good.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking in my head, they're going to crash and burn. It's never going to get done. And I will admit, like, we checked back in a couple of times and it wasn't the best. But they were able to identify why they didn't get it done in time and still wanted to have another chance. We did it. And you know what? Within a couple of weeks, they did have it down. And they were doing it their own way, which included getting some chores done on weekdays.
It's so scary to give up that control of like what's happening in the house and when it's happening in the house. But I think that especially if you're listening to this right now, like once you do it once and you see the benefits, you're going to be more likely to give up that control more and more and have your family members really think of the solutions and kind of reframe your own solutions as well.
Yeah. And my other thing is it's hard for me to keep my excitement when I see them problem solving.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm so excited.
Don't act too excited. Act cool.
Yeah.
Act cool, man. Act cool.
They'll totally like stop doing it if you're too excited. They're like, oh, this isn't, especially the age of kids we have. Like 11, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get too excited, man, then suddenly you're the weird parent.
Yeah. So those are the 5 reasons that your last family meeting may have failed, or if you haven't started one yet, some little pitfalls to be aware of. And those again were, it was way too long. You got down to business too fast. You only focused on the problems. Only one person talked the entire meeting, and you didn't have a plan. And to fix that, some quick tips: keep your family meeting short.
Yep, 15. You want to keep it to 30 minutes or less. 15 is actually your sweet spot for most ages.
Add a fun game to the beginning of your family meeting.
Whatever you guys like doing is always fun. It can be short, it can be long, but hey, just make sure you have that connection first.
Focus on some fun problems like planning vacations in addition to the struggles.
Right? It doesn't always have to be the tough, hard work. There can be positive, fun problems you're working through.
Give everyone time to talk during the meeting, even using that awkward silence.
Right. And that's really all I'm going to say. Just try not to say too much.
You're going to try to use the awkward silence.
Yep. Thumbs up, man.
And have an agenda. Post it on the fridge. Have people write on it.
Right, because there's nothing worse than having a family meeting and
you find out that your kids didn't feel like they could say something.
Yes, exactly. So, hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, can you hit that subscribe button? And me and Bree will be appearing in your podcast folder every Tuesday and Thursday when new episodes come out. And if you have a quick second, can you rate and review the No Guilt Mom podcast? It helps other moms find it. Apple Podcasts then shows it to all these other people. So we would really appreciate if you could take 2 or 3 minutes just to leave us those stars. We hope we deserved your 5 stars. And just a quick little 2 to 3 sentences about what you enjoyed about the podcast.
Ooh, I found a great one. Can I read it?
Yes, go for it.
I love reading reviews. Okay. So this one is by #LivingIt, and it says pertinent and practical. The content is exactly what I am dealing with in my parenting journey, and I am able to implement the strategies the same day. I'm also getting great books to add to my reading list, and I want to read them all. Thank you so much for helping me feel less guilt as I grow as a parent.
Aw, yay.
Great big virtual hugs. Oh, thank you,
virtual hugs. So until next time, remember the best mom's a happy mom. Take care of you. We'll see you later.
Thanks for stopping by. Are you looking for something to listen to with your whole family? Then check out 6 Minutes, produced and created by Gen Z Media. With over 200 twisty, cliffhanger-filled episodes, 6 Minutes tells the story of 11-year-old Holiday who is pulled from the icy waters with no memory of who she is or where she came from.
3 years ago, Brinley Pasternak helped the Anders family uncover the truth about Holiday's past. Now she'll need them to help her find the truth about hers. In 6 Minutes Out of Time, the long-awaited sequel, Cyrus Anders is found unconscious near the mysterious Elixir Academy in Florida, and Brinley learns the school may have a shocking connection to her missing mother.
Dive in now and get the most downloaded family audio adventure in history. Follow 6 Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free with the GZM family subscription.